Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. Oh my goodness. This is a really pivotal week in 2025. In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into how Saturn moving into Aries will affect you. Also, I'll be diving into this new moon in Gemini chart for you. I will also be sharing how my relationship with my mother improved after I launched my astrology practice. And then I will end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. We are going to first start off with the major transits of this week, and then I'll dive into the new moon in Gemini chart for you, which technically isn't happening till the following week. However, I want to give you a heads up on this energy. Starting off with May 20th, Gemini season begins, so you are going to start to feel this shift in energy where you could feel lighter, you could feel as though you're going to take things less seriously. I did love Taurus season. Taurus season really grounded us and really helped us stay in the material world, whereas Gemini is an air sign. So Gemini energy really wants us to stay curious, stay inquisitive, and also help us have more fun, not take things so seriously. I also will say that with Gemini season beginning, you'll have this strong focus on partnerships, especially friendships during Gemini season because Gemini rules the twins. And this energy is really helpful to have a sounding board, to have someone to talk things through with. So you're going to feel this pull to have more connection in your life and to go to more social events, maybe more community events. So this is a really lovely, fun energy. Now on May 22nd, we have the Sun in Gemini sextile to Neptune in Aries. So this feels very magical. This feels very healing. This is a really good day to go to a healing ritual, perhaps in person, in a community event, or to really do something with a friend that feels very artistic. Maybe going to a pottery class or going to a yoga class would be really beneficial with this energy. You could also just feel as though you're connected more to the spiritual realm. Perhaps you're doing a meditation or you just feel as though you're lighter and you have this stronger sense to feel connected to everything around you. Now, what's also happening this day is Venus in Aries is trine Mars in Leo. This is probably one of my most favorite transits of this month. This feels very passionate. This feels invigorating. This feels like you're more in tune with your desires and taking action towards your values, especially when it comes to what you think of yourself, what you want for yourself, especially when it comes to how you can be more creative, how you can be more expressive. So this is honestly such a lovely, creative, passionate day. I do recommend going on a very romantic date or just doing something that you truly enjoy for yourself, perhaps a personal hobby, perhaps filming some TikToks or videos, or doing something that really helps you feel passionate about what you're doing. On May 23rd, we have Mercury in Taurus sextile the North Node in Pisces. This is very helpful. You could have a conversation this day that really helps you align to your life path. Perhaps you have a conversation with your therapist, a mentor, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and you're feeling more connected to what you want long term. Perhaps you are starting to see, okay, I need to ground myself in terms of what I have to do every single day to help me reach what I would actually feel fulfilled with long term. This looks like more of a spiritual conversation that just really helps you align to what you feel like you need to be doing right now. Now on May 24th, we have the Sun in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. So this feels very invigorating. This feels a bit more intense, but in a very good way, where you could feel as though you go to a community event or you meet up with some friends, or you meet up with a few people and you're feeling very connected in terms of your community. You're feeling more supported. You're feeling as though you're seeing yourself in a really good light when it comes to your friends or community right now. And this is actually really exciting you. This is helping you transform your idea of what community looks like to you, what your idea of your close circle friends look like to you. Perhaps you're starting to see, okay, I actually have more friends than I think. Perhaps you're starting to see, okay, more people know about the work I'm doing than I thought or I realized. This looks very, very exciting. I will say some secrets can come out during this time. If you're in a friend group, perhaps this is a little bit of gossiping. I don't see this as a negative thing. However, of course, watch your words, of course. Yet this could just feel as though you're sharing something that was weighing on you and you're just purging that in a group and you're feeling this relief. You're feeling as though you're being seen right now in the most supportive way. Now, what's also happening this day is Mercury in Taurus is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So we have some shocking news that comes out during this time. So you can get a surprise message from someone. You could get a surprise notification around money, food, finances, art, your self-worth, your self-value. You could have an unexpected conversation around how you are feeling about a certain love situation. This is one example. Yet I do see this more so as a surprise message from someone that just reaches out to you. Perhaps this is a surprise payment coming in. If you have a business, this could be a surprise message from a past client. This could also look like someone reaching out to you that you used to date, or not necessarily, this could be an old friend, for example, as well. Yet this is a very, very interesting day. This also is a great day for breakthroughs. So this conversation that you have, or even the connection you have with a community, or even through social media, could give you a breakthrough around something that's been on your mind, especially when it comes to growing your finances, bettering your money mindset, or just understanding your self-worth and self-value in a different way. This could also be a burst of creative inspiration that is very, very helpful. I will just give you a heads up to expect the unexpected this day. Sometimes this information can shock us, so keep this in mind. Then on May 25th, we have Saturn entering Aries. This is pivotal. This is one of the biggest transits of 2025. This is going to shift a lot when it comes to our systems, our structures, and boundaries. If you have Saturn in Aries, you are starting your Saturn return. Now, if you have Saturn in Pisces, you're not out of the woods just yet with your Saturn return. I do want to give you a heads up on that. Saturn will only be in Aries from May 25th to September 1st, 2025, and then it will retrograde back into the sign of Pisces for the remainder of the year before it re-enters Aries in 2026. So please keep this in mind. This is more so a sneak peek if you have Saturn in Aries of your Saturn return, and if you have Saturn in Pisces, this is more so showing you what's going to happen after your Saturn return. Now, I will say Saturn is uncomfortable in the sign of Aries. I do want to give you a heads up. I will be releasing your Saturn and Aries horoscopes on my VIP membership. I'll leave a link to those down below once those are released if you want to dive what this means for you in terms of your sign. Now, Saturn traditionally is uncomfortable in the sign of Aries because Saturn is considered in its fall. This just means that it feels as though Saturn doesn't know how to really manage this energy that well. And this is because Aries likes things fast. Aries wants to get things done right away, right now. Aries is really uncomfortable with patience and taking things slow, which is what Saturn, the planet, is trying to teach us. Saturn is in its exaltation in the sign of Libra, which is Aries partnership sign. So when we think of this, Saturn does really, really well in the sign of Libra because it likes balance, it likes discernment, it likes to judge but also see both sides of a situation and give that consideration. So when we take this into consideration, Saturn in Aries is challenging us to really figure out how can we slow things down? What does this look like for us? So wherever Saturn in Aries is going to transit your chart, that is where you're going to have to slow it down. That is where you're going to set more boundaries, and that is where you're going to start to see that you're going to need more discipline and hard work and dedication in that area of life. Again, I'll be releasing your VIP horoscopes on this, so stay tuned for those. Yet I want us to consider the major themes of Saturn in Aries. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries has a lot of themes around action, also masculine energy, as well as how we are learning about our ego and our sense of self. So with Saturn moving into Aries, I do see us really getting more disciplined in learning more about ourselves, learning more about how to take better care of our bodies, learning more on how to slow things down from reacting in certain situations. This energy is helping us understand how we can become better leaders. So we're going to have this heavy focus around creating systems and structures around how you are self-reflecting. What are you doing for yourself in terms of prioritizing yourself? This can be a challenge because we don't want to be egocentric when we live with other people in this world. So that is where I can potentially see some difficult situations when it comes to Saturn and Aries, because it's good to focus on yourself, yet you also have to consider the community around you. With Neptune and Aries also during this time, I do see this as us seeing more of this rise when it comes to spiritual leadership. What does this look like? I feel as though this is going to be a time period where people are going to take their health more seriously. People might go back to do more anger management. When it relates to the masculine energy, we have been seeing some wounds when it comes to this, especially because Chiron has been in Aries since 2019. So Chiron is the asteroid known as the wounded healer. So it brings up a lot of past hurt and pain. Aries being a very masculine sign and masculine energy. I do want to say everyone has masculine energy. I do want to preface this by saying that. Yet we've been seeing this epidemic that a lot of people have been talking about in terms of this loneliness epidemic when it comes to men. So this energy, when we consider this with Chiron in Aries, Neptune in Aries, and Saturn in Aries, we're going to have more talks around this. We're going to see more of this come to light and figuring out what needs to be done. What can men do together in terms of their healing journey, especially with Neptune and Aries? So really good to consider, and this will be a really interesting topic of discussion in the upcoming years. Now let's dive into this new moon in Gemini chart for you. So this new moon in Gemini is not happening this week, yet I do want to give you a heads up on this energy. So this new moon in Gemini is happening on May 26th, 2025 at 11:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be happening on the 27th Pacific Time. Now, honestly, this is one of the nicest new moons to manifest with I've seen in quite a while. This looks very, very lovely. There's a lot of beneficial energy in this new moon chart. Now, this new moon is happening at 6 degrees of Gemini. And what's really interesting is this new moon is in a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So we're still feeling this transformation, especially when it comes to our friendships, how we see ourselves when it comes to our friends, how we see ourselves when it comes to community, and how we are connected in this way. You could have a conversation with someone during this time where you're starting to see, okay, how can I be a better friend? What do I need to do? And how are you being celebrated for the friend that you currently are? Now, the reason why this new moon in Gemini is beautiful to manifest with is because the ruler of this new moon is Mercury in Gemini, which is in its home sign. This is super, super lovely. This just means that we're going to see so many themes around communication, around having a new beginning when it comes to our partnerships, our friendships, and how this helps us understand ourselves through our connections. What's also interesting is Mercury is still in this trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So we're still feeling this beautiful transformational energy around how can we change how we approach conversations. This is going to feel more natural for us, but we're also going to feel this intensity of wanting to connect to more people. Now, this is super, super lovely. This is a brand new beginning for us when it comes to how we are connecting to our partnerships. How are we seeing ourselves through another? The other reason why I love this new moon in particular to manifest with is because Mercury will be in a sextile to Saturn in Aries. This is very, very supportive because the conversations you're having around this new moon, the manifestations and the intentions you are setting are going to pay off long term. With this connection to Saturn, we're thinking ahead. We're trying to plan ahead to see, okay, what collaborations are very supportive of me and my growth? What collaborations are helpful for me in terms of what I really want to be doing for myself, of my desires? Which connections really see me for who I am authentically? So there is this very supportive energy around, okay, I am building something for my future. I am setting these intentions and planning ahead, and this is going to help me so much with what I really want to be doing for myself. Now, I say this, and Mars in Leo is still in this trine to Venus in Aries. So we're still feeling this passion, this intensity around aligning our values to our actions. What steps are you taking for yourself? How are you expressing yourself? Are you doing something creative? Are you doing something that nourishes your soul by creating something and putting it out there? What does this look like for you? This doesn't necessarily have to be something artistic. This could be going for a run and running a marathon. This could be working out and seeing the benefits of working out and feeling really good in your skin. Now, I know that I've said that this new moon has a lot of focus on friendships. However, because of Mars making this trine to Venus for this new moon, and also the supportive aspect of Saturn, this is honestly really helping us with understanding what we need in a lifelong partner. This could be a good opportunity to have a conversation with a friend that you might be romantically interested in. I'm just putting that out there because this is a really lovely energy for that. I do see that this could be received quite well, or you're both gonna just appreciate the other person even more. Honestly, this is a bit more of a romantic new moon than I initially thought. So honestly, if you're single, put yourself out there, see what happens, because no matter what, I think you would have at least a bit of fun. And I say this too because Neptune is also in Aries in a sextile to this new moon and the sun. So we have this beautiful, creative, romantic energy. Perhaps it's a good time to go on a date to a museum or an art gallery. That would be really, really lovely. Or just planning something that feels very cathartic, very healing. Maybe going to a spa or doing something that nourishes you, like a sound bowl bath. Jupiter in Gemini is also still in a sextile to Chiron in Aries, so we're still having these very deep healing conversations with our partnerships. We're still feeling like there's this vulnerability when it comes to our conversations with our friendships. which is really, really healing. Honestly, this is a great time to initiate a conversation with a friend if you want to get closer to a friend. This is a great time to start a communication project. I highly recommend this if you have a business, if you want to use this energy for your business in any way or your career in any way. If you're looking for a new job, perhaps sharing your status on LinkedIn or a different platform can really help because your connections can really support you right now. So I do want to mention that. There aren't really any challenging aspects in this new moon chart, so that is why this is a beautiful new moon to manifest with. If you want help with this, if you want me to guide you through a manifestation ritual to manifest, to call in new energy, you can come join me in the Moon Sign Creative community for our new moon in Gemini manifestation ritual. It's going to be so much fun. There is currently a wait list for the community. I will be dropping links to when doors open on the wait list. So get on that list to get notified of when those doors open, because honestly, I am super, super excited to really use this new moon to my advantage, and I want you to use this energy as well. You're gonna love the community. Everyone is so sweet, so kind, so empathetic, so uplifting. It's honestly such a healing space to be with people who are doing the deep healing work, who really, really value self-growth. This is for you if you want the accountability to manifest your dreams, if you want that support, if you want friends that really uplift you, and if you just want to learn more astrology and want my support, but also use the new moons and the full moons to your advantage. Again, I'll leave the waitlist for the community down below. I'm excited to see you there. Now, before I get into the topic for this week, I do want to share that if you haven't been following me on Substack or on Instagram, you should. But also, I have decided to close my individual birth chart readings temporarily for a few months to really focus on my Boldest You mentees and to really focus on my long-term clients. If this is something you're interested in, you could check out my Boldest You mentorship program. And I also now have a wait list for birth chart readings. So if you did want a birth chart reading with me later on, I will open up spots potentially in December. So you can get on the list to be notified when those spots open again. Yet, I just want to thank everyone for your support because I made the announcement on Instagram and I had such a beautiful, beautiful response for just putting those intentions out there, because I really see the benefit of working with people long term and seeing their growth and transformation over time. It's been eye-opening for me to witness with my Boldest You mentees because I've seen their businesses flourish. I've seen them really step into more self-love, more compassion, but also seeing them flourish and gain more confidence in terms of their businesses flourishing, in terms of promoting their businesses on social media, having a very strong brand so that they can captivate, so that they can influence more people and help them in terms of the work that they're doing. So if you wanted a mentor to help you with the astrological support, the mindset work, the energetic work, the social media strategy, and the brand strategy to really build a solid foundation for your business to help it grow and expand, this is the program for you. So I'll leave a link. You can apply to the Boldest You program down below if you know you need one-on-one support and that accountability. Now, in this week's episode, I want to talk about how my mother came around to me launching my astrology practice, what this kind of looked like. This was a question that a viewer asked in terms of me kind of going through how my mother tended to come back around and really support me in terms of the work I'm doing. So we'll get into this. This is a really, really interesting, juicy topic. So for me, I will say that my mother wasn't really that happy with me launching my astrology practice, especially during my Saturn return. Again, she didn't know what was happening to me, but I knew what was going on. And the thing is, your Saturn return is going to test you. Your Saturn return is you adulting up, setting hard boundaries, and doing what's best for yourself. I always knew that I needed to do creative work. And the thing is, there was a period of time when I tried to make my mom happy with the work I was doing, which was me becoming a professor in design and teaching graphic design, yet I was miserable. I was not happy. I love mentoring other people. I love helping students. I love teaching. However, it was just not aligned for me. So I will say, in the beginning phases of me launching my astrology practice, of having a very public launch, I should say, my mom was not happy with this. She was really, really not happy with me putting my work online. And the thing is, when you're going through your Saturn return, you're going to have to set boundaries. For me, it was making the difficult decision to really not share the work I'm doing with my mother, but also not share anything about my relationships and not share anything when it comes to my personal life in these realms. And this is to protect my own emotional well-being, right? Because I can see her reactions, and there was a time when she was really upset with me for reading tarot online. And the thing is, I had to really state my boundaries with her. There were a few months where I did not talk to her at all because I wanted to go forth with my astrology practice. You have to be willing to risk everything for your dreams. Let me repeat that. You need to be willing to risk everything for what's important for you. Now, this could be bad advice. I'm not saying to completely uproot your life. I'm just saying that you need to care more about your dreams than how other people would respond and react. And I know that it could be really, really hard for family members specifically because your family is so close to you, especially if you are close to your mother, especially if you are close to other family members and you're worried that they're going to judge you. Now, the thing is, you have to either set a boundary of not talking to them about certain topics, or you have to share in secret, right? And for me, I knew that if I did astrology in secret, I'm not going to get clients. I'm not going to help more people through astrology by dimming my light. So I had to take a risk. I had to set those boundaries with my mother, and honestly, it really did help our relationship. Not right away. You should not expect someone to change. Let me repeat that. You should not expect anyone to change. You can only change how you respond to a situation. For me, it was setting those boundaries, holding the consequence of those boundaries. So, for example, if someone broke one of my boundaries and I say, I'm not going to see you if you say this, then I have to hold the consequence of what I just said, right? You have to align your actions with your words. So, for example, if it is a family member that is more difficult, you have to first state the boundary, and then if they still do that thing, you have to say, okay, I'm not going to be here if this happens again. If they do it again, you just leave, right? You have to follow through with your word. You have to have a consequence to a boundary, and you have to follow through with that consequence. You can't just go back on your word. That is really, really important. That is integrity, right? And that can be very, very difficult. I will say this can be emotionally difficult, yet it's really understanding that what is really important to you is important. You matter. Your story matters. what you want out of life matters, I want to give you that reassurance, right? Of course, when there's no harm to anyone else, right? So please keep this in mind. But for myself, also looking at my birth chart really helped me make sense of why I had to set this difficult boundary with my mother. For me, I go back to Chiron in Leo opposing my Saturn in Aquarius in the 4th and 10th house. There is issues with authority figures, with parental figures, when I share something that is a bit more personal or vulnerable online. People could get triggered by what I share. The thing is, triggers help us see what we still need to heal through, right? It is not your responsibility to heal someone else. It is their responsibility to heal. And the thing is, we can't please everyone. I am a recovering people pleaser as a Libra rising, and the more I shared online, the easier it got. The more I started to share my truth, share my voice, share my authenticity, especially with Chiron in Leo in my 10th house, the more I attracted dream clients into my life, the more I attracted dream friendships that really understood me, that really understood and supported me and celebrated my success. This is powerful. Saturn can be tricky. Saturn is difficult. Saturn is the planet of limitations. So there was this direct correlation to what I was sharing publicly with Chiron in my 10th house and how this affected my family life with Saturn in the 4th house. And I say this because looking at your birth chart, you can really understand the purpose behind difficult decisions. For me, it was to help myself heal. It was for me to understand that my voice matters and I can help others through their healing journey. Now, my mother didn't really come around to me sharing my astrological work online until perhaps a few years later. And this is because I only found out maybe a year ago where she was proud of it and speaking to our doctor about it. So this was incredibly healing for me personally, right? And I say this because you shouldn't have that expectation that someone will come around to something. You should just have this really strong self-concept that you are going to do what's best for you. Because what's best for you ultimately is going to be really good for everyone around you. Because the more you live in your authenticity, the more you share your voice, the more that you are doing the things you love, the more the other people around you are going to see that and really feel that healing energy. Now, I don't know exactly what made my mother come around in terms of accepting the work I was doing. However, I know that me setting boundaries actually really, really improved my relationship with her because it made her respect me more and it made her realize that I'm okay on my own, which is a part of your Saturn return. I do want to mention I have a free video on your Saturn return. I'll leave the link to that at the end of this video if you're interested, if you're curious to dive deep into that. Yet, even if you've passed your Saturn return, sometimes you don't know the full lessons of your Saturn return. I do want to preface that, and that's why it can still feel hard even after your Saturn return to set boundaries, because honestly, setting boundaries is supposed to be hard. I want to repeat that. Setting boundaries is supposed to be hard. I don't think it's easy for anyone. However, some people are just more willing to do it. Now, I also go through your family patterns in depth in my Astrology Foundations course, Scene Secrets. If you want to learn astrology from me and you really love how I describe certain transits, you love how I explain what's happening in the sky, and you want to learn this for yourself, you want to learn how to read your birth chart, how to become your own astrologer, and how to read other people's birth charts. This is the course for you because I not only go through the basics like the planets, the signs, the houses, and the aspects and how to put them all together, but I also go through your family patterns, your relationship patterns, and your career patterns, and how to look at your birth chart to really uncover what's beneath the surface. I'm so excited to bring this course back. My students have gotten such amazing results from this course. So if you want to learn astrology from me, and if you want to have the skill set of learning astrology and being able to read your birth chart for the rest of your life, you get to have this course for the rest of your life. So I'll leave a link to that down below. You can join the waitlist before the course is released again. I'm super, super excited for it. Now let's get into your tarot reading for this week. So the first card out is the Fool card. I love this card. I think this is the perfect card to describe the start of Gemini season. I think we're going to just feel this fresh, new energy. We're going to feel lighter. We're going to feel more adventurous. We're going to have more conversations of starting something new. This is an energy where you could just feel more uplifted and you're embarking on this new path and this new adventure. Definitely watch your step though, because you don't want to be blinded by so many different things that you're not looking to see where you're going. However, this is still a really, really amazing energy to bring forth into Gemini season and this week moving forward. The next card out is the Star card reverse. So what's interesting is I think we're going to feel a bit more vulnerable this week. I think we're going to feel like we're letting go of a certain life path this week that is no longer aligned for us. Perhaps you're realizing, actually, I don't want to be doing this thing. I want to focus on something else. I'm really hearing this message. I do think Saturn in Aries is going to help you with this and to get more focused on what you actually want for yourself. So with the Star reverse, we could be feeling a little bit lost this week. We could feel a little bit disoriented, yet whatever you can do to self-reflect and to go within is going to help you so much this week. The next card out is the King of Cups. So we could still feel a little bit emotional this week. We could feel like there's a lot that we are responsible for. However, I feel like you're handling things in a much better way this week. You know how to emotionally regulate. If you don't, I really recommend EFT tapping, journaling, dancing, moving your body, crying things out, doing things that help you feel grounded. So with the King of Cups, I do think we're going to feel a little bit more emotional than we expected. Yet, I also see this as you stepping it up and realizing the power in your emotions, how this is actually a really beautiful thing for you in terms of what you have for yourself, in terms of feeling good, in terms of realizing it's actually a gift to feel so much. You could also meet someone this week that is very empowering to you or really helps you in terms of your emotions. May this be an astrologer, may this be a tarot reader, may this be a therapist, may this be just taking a class that helps you with emotionally regulating your emotions. Our challenge this week is the Queen of Swords reverse. So I think you could potentially distance yourself from someone this week. I am hearing this message. I also see this as you could be overthinking a situation. I also see this as you could be in a place where it's really hard to focus. So whatever you can do to ground yourself, may this be for journaling things out, may this be making a list of things. This is a week to slow down, to have a difficult conversation if you need one, and to also realize that it's okay to take some distance from someone. Please be sure to communicate this in some way. However, it's okay to ask for some space. I am hearing this message. Your oracle cards for this week is Seek Inspiration in Unusual Places. I love this card. This is so beautiful. Have some fun. Really do something different this week. Gemini season wants us to explore. Gemini season wants us to stay curious. So this is a great week to go somewhere new, to get inspired. This is going to help you with your artistic practice. This is going to help you with more ideas for what you want to be creating. This is honestly such a fun energy. We also got I am connected to the earth. So ground yourself this week. See if you can get into nature, go to the beach, go for a walk. You're going to feel so replenished. This is going to feel so healing for you to do this week. We also got notice predictable rhythms. So pay attention to the patterns in your life. Pay attention to what is working for you and what isn't. Very important to consider right now. I always see this as pay attention to the astrological transits, pay attention to the astrological patterns in your birth chart, because honestly, I'm always mind blown by what I see in the world when I really focus on how the astrology is affecting me and how this is actually beneficial for me in terms of moving throughout my life. So take note of this and see what comes up for you this week. How is it similar to a previous situation that you've had? So that is the energy for this week. If you want help with growing your spiritual wellness business, using astrology, using brand strategy, using mindset work, energetic work, and social media strategy, check out the Boldest You mentorship program. Apply before May 25th because you get some special bonuses if you do. So I'll leave a link to that down below if you're interested, if you want help with growing your business. And also, if you want to manifest with the Moonsign Creative community, go join the waitlist. It's going to be so good, so much fun. You're going to love it. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for watching, friend. Just remember, the universe has your back, and peace and love. Take care.